condominiums, 3-low construction, designed by Shipwright and Heinrich. And I have to tell you, they were students in Mies van der Rohe. The building is not quite their design. They took a design that Mies had come up for an office tower in Berlin, Germany, which was never built, and they modified it. See the circle on the top? It doesn't spin around, but it's got fabulous views, and that is a French restaurant called Cité. The bottom you have right there, there is a 3.5 acre park. Now, I want to tell you something very important. You see this building? It's the only one east of Lakeshore Drive. Why? Well, I'll tell you. It was grandfathered in because back in '68, when this was built at 70 stories, it was the tallest building in the world. It was under construction. And the city zoning board said, no more buildings on the lakefront. Why? I know you can't see it from here, but if you were on a lake, you would see for 26 miles, our lakefront is all parks. Only city in the world that has that. And so we didn't want to build anymore. We don't want to lose our lakefront because people, it is free for all of us to enjoy. I don't care where you're from. You can walk along the lakefront. Now, 5 years ago, a man by the name of George Lucas came to Chicago. Anybody heard of him? Star Wars, you know? He wanted to build an animation museum here. We would have loved to have it, but he insisted that it be right on the lake. And the zoning board, the preservation said, no, you open it up for him. The next guy goes, well, he got it. Then, oh, he got it. Before long, our lakefront's gone. So we refused. San Francisco refused. I believe the museum is being built in Los Angeles. Now, coming up on your right is Riverview 1 and 2. These are by James DiStefano. These are lovely, if you look at them, they're lovely condominiums and 17 townhouses. The townhouses are really nice. They each have their own rooftop terrace. They all have their own private elevators. I've been in a couple of them. One of them has a shark tank. Another one has a full basketball court, believe it or not, in them. These were done in 2002, 2007. The little building in the center, that is their indoor swimming pool. They have an outdoor and health fitness center as well. And the views from up there are really quite spectacular. Now coming up, you're going to see a fountain, and I do apologize, it's not on. They forgot to drain it during COVID. So what happened? The pipes burst, you know, from the cold. So they're in the process of repairing it. But there's a little triangle here with a hole in it. Can you see it? That shoots up a 90-foot arc of water. It was designed so boats could go underneath and the passengers not get wet. It doesn't, well, it works. It's beautiful. It's illuminated, but how do I want to say this? Somebody forgot about gravity. I was the first tour and I'd go on with another company. We were soaked, myself and all the guests on board. We don't do that anymore. I was with another company, but none of the tour companies go underneath it because you get river water all over you. So to the right now, coming up, we have the Sheraton Hotel and Towers. This is the second tallest building, second largest hotel in Chicago. It actually has 1,200 rooms. Now, if any of you are looking for a place for a large anniversary or wedding, check this place out. Their ballroom, are you ready for this? Can seat for dinner 5,000 people. Seat for dinner. The building itself is all, look at the green glass around here. It reflects the color of our river. Our river is this color because it has a clay bottom, an algae that grows in it, and an influx of Lake Michigan water. Now, as we approach the Columbus Drive Bridge, you're going to see a building with a gold ball on the top there. Can you see that right straight ahead there to the right? That is the former Shriners Medina Athletic Club. They lost it during the Depression. The Hotel Intercontinental is in there, but look at that ball. There's a parapet sticking up like a tower. That was supposed to be for blimps to land there. But after the Hindenburg disaster went down in 1937, they decided that that wasn't a feasible form of air travel. The building on your right, NBC Tower, home to Channel 5, it's modeled after the one in Rockefeller Center. It dates to 1987. And by the way, just a little sidebar, Channel 5 here in Chicago was the first one to broadcast color television. The green glass building coming up, that is the Gleacher Center. And that is home to the University of Chicago, but their downtown facility. They have a gorgeous campus on the city southeast side that kind of looks like Oxford. It's very close to where Barack Obama's presidential library is being built. Now there are 27 classrooms on this side. None of them have windows. And the architect was criticized, but you know what? He said students should pay attention to what's going on in class and not be looking out the window. And it has paid off because they have produced 99 Nobel Prize winners, more than any other university in the world. Look straight ahead, the beautiful white buildings right there. That is the two towers of the Wrigley Building. The one on your left, 1919. The one on your right, 1924. There are 250,000 white glazed glass tiles. They're all numbered. Why? Because the building gets progressively whiter as it goes up. So when one falls off, they know exactly where it came from. It was the first building to be illuminated, the first to be air conditioned, and the first building to be built on the north side of the Michigan Avenue Bridge, DeSable Bridge. I will tell you this, the building, the Wrigleys came here to sell soap. Did you know that? Nobody liked their product. So when the World's Columbian Exposition opened in 1893, they actually came up with a new product called chewing gum. Have you ever had juicy fruit, spearmint? That's what they made their fortune out. They're no longer there, by the way. They're in their new facility on the north branch of the river. It's a research facility. The beautiful blue building on your right coming up, that is Trump International Hotel and Tower. 92 stories. It's curvilinear design. The building looks like it is steel and glass. It actually is poured concrete wrapped in steel and glass. There is a hotel, there is a parking garage, there is a restaurant, condominiums, and penthouses. The building was designed by Adrian Smith. He was with Skidmore, Owings & Merrill. Currently, Mr. Smith has his own firm, Smith & Gill, and is working on the tallest building in the world. How tall? This is 92 stories, 1,342 feet. The one he's working on is in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. It is called the Kingdom Tower. It'll be 3,300 feet. Take a Trump, put another Trump, and a half a Trump on top of it. Check it out. You look it up on the internet. It's a beautiful building. It's under construction right now. The black building coming up on your right by the great German architect Mies van der Rohe. You know, Mies came here from the Bauhaus School in Dessau, Germany. His philosophy of architecture, you can see it, less is more. The only architectural orientation are the thin I-beams. Now, Mies came here when Hitler was closing all the design schools, anything contemporary. So he was head of the Bauhaus, which was a really kind of a very advanced design school. So he changed forever the face of Chicago. The building was originally built in '71 for the IBM. Today, the upper floors are the American Medical Association, the lower 12 floors, the Langham, which is a British-owned 5-star hotel that, by the way, still serves high tea. On your right, two of our most iconic towers. These are the Twin Towers of Marina City, 1964, 1967. They are rather unusual apartments. They're pie-shaped. They start out narrow and wide. They're very difficult with traditional furniture in. These are the first residential buildings built on the river. They were built as a city within a city. There was a marina, shops, restaurant, a bowling alley, ice skating rink. The building itself is by Bertrand Goldberg, who was a student of Mies van der Rohe, and he hated Mies's black boxes. He said there are no angles in nature, so he loved curvilinear designs. And by the way, this building should get an Oscar. It has been in more movies and more films. How many? How many of you have seen The Blues Brothers, While You Were Sleeping, My Best Friend's Wedding, The Fugitive, The Transformers? I could go on. If you watch Chicago Med, Chicago PD, it's in all of them. Need a lawyer? Check out the building right here. This is home to the American Bar Association. There are actually 250 lawyers who have offices in that building, and it was done in 1987. The architect is the same one who worked on the John Hancock and the Willis Tower, Bruce Graham. Now, if you were on this river 120 years ago, nothing but barges, tugboats. The river was filthy, and one warehouse after another. This is one of the last remaining vestiges. It is a masonry construction, which means it's bricks. It's symmetrical. There are 6 bays here. There were 6 to the left, but one was taken off when they widened the LaSalle Street Bridge. The building actually was done in 1914 by George Nimmons. He was a specialist in kind of commercial buildings. Today, this is commercial office space, and there's 2 restaurants on the lower level. Now, our next building is a LEED certified building. What does that mean? LEED is Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design. There are different levels. There's silver, gold, platinum. This is platinum. The roof has a part on it. It absorbs rainwater. This building does not have an air conditioning tower. It takes the river water, it cools the building, and then the river water comes out cleaner but warmer. We can't do that anymore because it affects the marine life in our river. The architects for Connecticut here, Picard and Chilton, 2009 is the date. Now the next large building you're going to see, one of the largest buildings ever built in America. This is known as the Merchandise Mart of Chicago. How big? The footprint, 5 acres, 4.2 million square feet of space. The building has 8 miles of corridors, 500 showrooms. It is an Art Deco building. You can see it has a vertical thrust, a limestone exterior, and those setbacks. And look at the geometric designs. That's very typical of Art Deco, which was popular in the 1920s. The building was done in 1931. It was to consolidate 14 warehouses for the Marshall Field Company, which is now Macy's. They lost it during the Depression, and the Kennedys bought it. And the Kennedys paid a mere $16 million for it. You know what they sold it for? They bought it in 45, kept it to 1996. They got $576 million for their $16 million investment. Those bronze heads, all the great merchant princes, Philemon, Wanamaker, Woolworth. Now the Kennedys did not sell this land. This is called Wolf Point. This is 8 years in development. They just completed the last building. The one that says rent is called Wolf Point East. It's a residential tower. The next one is called the Salesforce building. Both of these are by the architects Pelly, Clark, and Pelly. Wolf Point is where Chicago originally put down her roots. Back in 1830, the first post office was here, the first general store, the first business, which was a tannery, was here, and the first ferry boat across the river. Now we're going to be turning down the South Branch, but people always ask me, where does the name Chicago come from? It comes from a Native American term, either Miami or Illinois tribe, we're not sure. Chicago, you know what it means? One is tall, strong, and big, which we like. The other one is smelly wild onions and skunk grass. So the Native Americans used to harvest skunk grass and smelly wild onions along the river. I hate to say it, but I think that's a more accurate interpretation. Now, on the right, this building with the red sculpture piece, this is called River Point, another new building. Beautiful. It's based on a parabolic curve. The building actually, if you look at it, has a lot of pharmaceutical companies, etc. in it. And the large sculpture piece is by Santiago Calatrava. It's called Constellation. Now, do you see that tunnel with all the holes? Well, I want to get this out right away. Everything on this side of the river is built over the air rights of the railroad. The railroad gets paid by all these buildings to have their buildings on top of it. Now, the building right here is brand new too, 150 North Riverside. Notice how narrow it is. We have the river on this side. There are 12 sets of tracks on the other side. The building is only 40 feet across. I have to tell you, this building sways back and forth north to south. So what the architects and engineers did, on the roof, 56 floors up, they put 4 tuned mass dampers. These are 460,000 gallon tanks of water on rollers. What happens when the building goes to the north in the wind? The rollers counter to the south. When the buildings push to the south, the rollers go to the north. Quite an engineering achievement. On your right, another amazing building from 1991. This is by Perkins and Will. Now there's 5 piers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can you see those? Those go down with solid bedrock. Notice this is raised up. The railroad runs underneath here. Well, I'm going to tell you folks, if those trains ever jump the tracks, it's going to take this building down. So what the engineers and architects did is just amazing. They cantilevered. If you look at my arm, they actually put these trusses in 5 of them, and they cantilevered them. The whole west side of this building is suspended off these trusses. I could run my hand underneath it. It's really amazing. As we go under the bridge, if you don't mind looking up, you'll see one of the trusses. They're like a big bridge. It's right there. You see it? Right there. There's 5 of them. The whole west side of the building is just, that whole side is just floating off those trusses. Building won numerous awards for architecture and engineering. On your right, to North Riverside Plaza, the first public plaza. This is a wonderful Art Deco building. I gotta tell you folks, I wish they would give it a bath, because you know in the 50s and 60s, we burned fossil fuel, coal. The city was filthy. Most of that is gone. This building just needs a good bath. It's a lovely building by Halliburton. It dates to 1929. Now, coming up on your right, you're going to see two black buildings. You're going to say to me, Phyllis, those buildings are by, believe it or not, Mies van der Rohe. They're not. Mies was the director of architecture at the Arnold Institute of Technology. These black buildings, both of them are the same. They're sister buildings. They date from 1965 and 67, but they were done by students of these, so they were indoctrinated into the international style. But look underneath. You see the trains? Could you imagine working there with the trains? You know, we are the rail center of the nation. We have approximately 1,400 to 1,700 trains that run through the city. But this particular building here, which is quite interesting, you can say, I don't want to listen to the noise, the vibrations. Give me a break. You don't hear it. The building is so well acousticized, and on top of it, all the diesel fumes are filtered up through the top. This is called Gateway Center. And by the way, years ago, this was Chicago's most disgusting area, Skid Row. Today, it's our West Loop area, one of the hottest growing areas. Major corporations like the Dials have moved their headquarters here. Wonderful restaurants, residential towers, and lots of corporations. Now, I want to get a head start because you're going to see Willis Tower up close. The building was started in 69, completed in 74, for 25 years, the tallest building in the world. It is 1,454 feet, 110 stories. And on the 100th floor, there is an observatory deck. It's called the Sky Deck. You can go up there. There are 4 glass boxes, and you could